Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition of, oh my goodness, Envision Me. How's everybody doing? Okay, you guys, bring your favorite beverage. Look who's here. Vision Maid, she's here. My guest. I can't wait for you guys to get to know her. She's here to empower you to go after your what's next. And so get your pen, paper. We got some nuggets we're going to drop tonight. But before I introduce you to her, let me first say welcome, everybody. And those of you who don't know me, I am Pam Stone. And this is another edition of Envision Me, where we come in, have fun, doing some girl talk. Who doesn't like girl talk, right?
Absolutely.
Have some girl talk. I love girl talk because it empowers me, inspires me in so many ways. So you guys grab your pen and paper. And also, before we go on, tonight's show is sponsored by Vision Made Vision Board. I guess what, you guys, we got the new kit. So we have a smaller version versus the big one. But I'll show that to you later. But let me bring on our amazing guest. This is Lori, and she is here to help us, empower us and inspire us. So grab your pen and paper. Look, you guys, I got mine, so you better grab yours as she gets in talking about, how does she get to her what's next. But you remember, we've all stumbled on our what ifs and I can'ts. It's just how do we get past them and move forward. So everybody, welcome Lori to the show.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Pamela,
you for coming.
I
This
really
is gonna be
appreciate
fun.
it. I'm so excited. So I will tell you a little bit about my story.
Please do.
We're now empty nesters, but I was a stay-at-home mom for several years, and then I went back to school and got my degrees, and I started teaching. And then I was recruited to do some fundraising development. Loved my job, thought it was perfect. And then things happened. The school closed very unexpectedly. I was in shock for a while. And one of my good friends called me and said, Lori, I want you to do a leadership class. And I'm like, I've done leadership classes.
Right.
This, it might not even be in my budget at this point. I don't know what my what next is right now.
Right.
And so he said, you know what? I want you to go so badly. I will pay for it. And I'm like,
wow.
Okay, first of all, I can't let you pay for it. He said, no, I will. That's how much I believe in it. So I paid him back, but he did pay for it initially. And it was huge. It was a 3.5-month leadership program.
Wow.
Absolutely. It's experiential. I learned a lot, but in that time I became exhausted.
I'm sure.
Exhausted. I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Me too. Look, we meet. Look, one people pleaser, perfectionist. Right.
I'm recovering in a lot of those areas.
Me too. I so can relate to that. But when you were in corporate, let's talk to the women that are sitting in corporate right now.
Oh gosh.
Because I'm still there. So was it a shock to you that you, from when you left corporate to go into being to where you are now?
Oh, very much so. Like, I was depressed for a while. I have to tell you, I prayed a lot. I said, God, what am I supposed to do next? Because COVID had hit. The schools were closed. That had been my life in schools, academic, teaching, developing programs, fundraising. Nobody was giving money for anything at that point. It became to the point, you're worrying about if you're going to go in the next day and you're going to be downsized and you lose your job. So during that time, I learned about side gigs.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that you can make a little or a lot with a side gig.
True.
And I think God led me to what I'm doing now. I truly do. And when I was in the corporate world, I guess I'll call it the academic world, like I said, didn't realize I didn't love it as much as I could have.
I understand.
When you're in the middle of it, you might think, oh, you know what? I'm really satisfied here. But you know what? I realized I was making other people's dreams come true.
That's true.
And that's making my dreams
right. And that's the thing, there's nothing, first, let's say this, there's nothing wrong with if you want to do something, make someone else's dreams come true. That's, that's how the world works. We all can't all do our own thing. Not everybody is fit to do that. But also understand that you still have your own dreams and, putting aside, and that's what we as women do.
Exactly.
We always push everybody else's dreams ahead of ours. And then where we're sitting at is looking out the window, let's be honest, thinking about the woulda, coulda, shouldas. And then, which happened to me was I still work in the corporate world, but one day I literally had a meltdown. And so after I pulled myself together thinking, okay, this is it for me. I have nothing else to live. I'm going to be making someone else's dreams come true and mine. I put myself together. I asked my team, which is 90% women. Hear what I said?
I heard that.
90%
Mhm.
women.
Gosh.
And I asked each one of them that were there, if I could remove all barriers, what would it be? Well, would you go after your what's next?
Wow. That's
And
a really good question.
and
Absolutely.
and do you know the answer was I don't know.
Isn't that so true?
But it's true because when you say I don't know, it makes you think about. So are you saying I don't know because you're scared of what's going to be on the other side? Or are you, I don't know, because let's be honest, when you're in the corporate world, you're doing what the corporate world wants you to do. So you have that mentality and your mindset. So then I said, okay, what if I remove every barrier there is and bring women such as yourself? I have thousands of them behind me, such as yourself, that will come in and help you do what you need to do. Maybe education, may it be learning a new job, may it be learning how to be an entrepreneur or what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Would you do it? And only one said yes.
Because they were the fear
Yeah,
of the unknown.
the fear of the unknown, and that shut it all down. And so at that point in time, I knew that was my calling to show women I was on your side. I was fearful too, but knowing, guess what? No matter what, I'm doing what for me. Me and God. We're I tell God all the time, it's me and you. And whatever happens from here on, it is what it is. So I'm glad that I understand the depression because that would take a moment like, man, I was doing this. I did everything for you, and I get nothing in
I'm
return.
being very successful in my role,
Exactly.
but it didn't matter. So, one thing I want to say is I think that if you think about the progression of women over the years,
Mm-hmm.
when I was young, it was the Ozzie and Harriet time, the 50s. So
Right.
I'm 62 now. So in the 50s, my mom was fortunate enough to be able to stay home with us, but she did a stay at home job typing phone books. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then it progressed to the time of double income. Women are going to
Yeah.
work. That's the norm to have to match up with the Smiths
True.
and the Jones and keep up with them. Now I think we're realizing, you know what? There's more to it.
Mm-hmm.
We can be entrepreneurs. We can do what we want. We can reach our why that way,
Absolutely.
and we can realize that why. Realizing that why is so huge.
Yeah.
Until I got into my own business, I never even thought about my why.
I have to say though, now that I'm over on this side, I get asked why a lot. A lot. And I don't know if I'm being asked why because I'm loving on this side of it. I'm really loving what I feel I have my jam. I feel like I'm walking in my purpose.
Absolutely.
That maybe that's why, but I'm always asked why. And so let me tell you what my why. My why is knowing that I'm out here to empower, inspire women no matter what. No matter what it is. And knowing that you can do it with and ask for help. We have that
I have a hard
problem.
time with that.
We all do. And ask for help and that help but you have to ask the right help. Let's be clear of that though.
That's so true. And realize what opinions you want.
Right,
As
exactly.
Brene Brown said, you don't want the cheap seat opinions.
That's right. That's right. I love her.
I do too. That's my current book. Yeah, absolutely. I love her.
But I'm still being asked on why. And I have to again go back to plus two, knowing that I did this and I built it myself. And that I'm
Absolutely.
leaving a legacy from the next generation behind me. And it's so important that's my importance of leaving a legacy. I'm always constantly and consistently thinking about what am I going to leave for them and where is it going to be. And to this day, even normally my grandbabies, if they're with me, they'll come and they are very well know about the office that we're here.
Right.
That they will bring their stuff and they're like, we're working with Momo.
Oh, you're a great role model for them.
But I want them to understand that you have options.
Absolutely.
And options is important.
And I don't think we realized that before.
I
At least
agree.
I didn't.
I didn't
I'll say
either.
that.
I didn't either.
I thought when I grew up, you were either a teacher,
Yep,
or a nurse,
yep.
or a secretary. And my dad was of the belief. He sent me to college for my MRS. I'm going to be honest.
Wow.
Isn't that? I know that's a whole different mindset. So clearly I've broken out of that mindset a long time ago. It's not very
But
realistic.
still, that's
However, that's how I
still,
was raised.
yeah.
And so I thought that was the goal.
Yeah, I agree. Because actually, when I started pivoting towards to what I'm doing now, one, I lost a lot of friends who I thought were my friends. Let me say that.
Mhm.
And then I was also told, well, you had your turn. So why are you doing it? That was the slap. That right there was the slap. But then that was really like the eye opener.
It lit the fire in you,
Oh,
didn't it?
it
Like, oh, you
did.
watch
It
me,
did.
you watch
It
me, girl, I'm
did.
succeeding.
It
Right?
did.
Yeah.
It did. So knowing that, there's so many options, and guess what? We have options. There is so much that we can do versus back in the day when we were working and things like that. So I'm glad we're talking about this. So I hope that the woman that is sitting out there that is listening to the or watching the podcast, because we can do both here, that you're sitting in the court in your office, because I'm always sitting in my cubicle like, what is my what's next? And then I'm always like, okay, am I on the right? I'm always asking, am I working on my what's next? Am I on the right path? And if I'm not, what am I going to do? And am I okay? You have to be okay with the choices that
See,
you
and
make.
that's amazing. That's so cool that you have that mindset.
But I have
And you've
to.
broken out of it, even though you're in the corporate world.
Yeah, that was hard. Remember,
Right.
I had to break down in the corporate at the desk, so that was a little hard,
Right.
But it is hard to break the mindset of I'm going to do this for me, knowing that you have other things going on.
And let's be honest, we're still mothers.
Yeah,
We're still wives.
right.
Most husbands, when they come home, they support us, but it's not the same as what's expected of a woman.
True.
And to me, I want to do all of those well.
Right.
And it's hard.
It is very hard.
It's really hard.
It is.
So, yeah. And so the corporate world makes that very difficult.
It does. It's hard to break that chain. But if there's a corporate woman sitting in her cubicle or listening, what is one piece of advice you would suggest to her or give to her?
One piece of advice is to be open to the doors that God is giving you. Open that door when you hear the knock. Open it and don't ignore it. One of the most influential books I read was The Wild Goose Chase.
I'm reading that next.
Are you? I read it when I was working at the school and we were thinking about programs to develop. And I just decided to get on a plane and head to Asia.
Wow.
After I read this book. And it opened up a whole different side of my life, I have to tell you. And it was a blessing. There were failures. I believe if you don't have a failure, you're not going to learn. You're not trying hard and you're not challenging yourself if you don't have a failure.
I agree.
Nobody's perfect.
Right.
And I also believe that you can wish and hope and pray as much as you want. And if you don't put the work into it and take the actions, it's not going to go above the ceiling in your room.
I agree with you. But let's talk about the failures. We all face them, right?
Absolutely. We don't want to be vulnerable enough to share them. But oh my gosh, I'm going to tell you one of my deep whys is I've been married before. I'm divorced and I'm back with like the love of my life now. But I had a marriage where I didn't even know what the bills were. Mm-hmm. Laid them on the counter. Then 1 week, everything fell out from under my life. Like you can't believe. I was in his office going through his files, trying to find insurance policies. And I thought, never, ever again. And then my youngest daughter is in her third year of her doctorate degree studying for psychology.
Wow.
My deep, deep, deep why is to help her with her tuition.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have all those huge loans bills when she's done. You know, because we thought she had a college account and he had gone through it. And this was when she was 16 years old. So, yeah. The day that, you know, how you decide the college day that night before, she's still deciding between two schools. He calls her and said, by the way, that fund is empty. Can you imagine the trauma? So for her especially, but also for me, and I never want that to happen to my child. So that's my deep, deep why. And I had to really dig to get to that.
I understand.
It's painful.
It is.
It's hurtful to get to your whys.
It is.
Once you do it, man, if you get up a day and you don't want to do something and you think, I have that why written on my mirror.
Do you? I have it everywhere too.
And I have my vision board. It's on the other side of the mirror from my vanity. So I see it in my mirror. Mm-hmm. I see it when I walk into my bathroom. I see it every morning. And I pay attention to it because my word is mindfulness. and my work, and I also want to take time for self-care.
Yeah.
I need to go work out. I need to go out and smell the roses, walk my dog, and really enjoy the sounds that I hear when I take the walk. Not have my brain going a million miles a minute.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of us do.
True.
It's really hard to slow down and do that.
It's
But
true.
even if you do it for 15 minutes,
It's 15 minutes better
get up
than
and
nothing.
say your prayers. I read my devotional the very first thing.
So true.
I used to turn on my phone and
Yeah.
check my text, and I'm like, why am I doing
Yeah, it's draining. But once we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, you're right about change. Making that pivotal change is so hard, but it's so necessary. No, so necessary to get there. But as we had talked about going, helping that woman in the corporate world, because there's so many women that are still working in corporate. Now, understand this: there is nothing wrong with you working in the corporate world if you want this. We're not against
That's
it.
what I was just thinking. You might have an amazing corporate job, but I'm not
Right.
putting you down.
No.
Congratulations.
But there's also some women are like, man, I want it, but how do I get it? And it's easy but it is easy to get it, to have what you want, both worlds.
You just have to go for it. You just have to take that leap.
I agree.
Because if you don't, how will you know?
You don't.
You don't want it. You don't want your legacy to be, wow, she talked about all these ideas
and did nothing.
No. And my big thing is I want to be a great role model for my children.
Exactly.
When I have grandchildren, for anyone that I talk to, I want to add to their lives. I want to enhance it.
Me too.
And I know that we're tribe members.
Yeah, exactly.
We're soul sisters.
Right, exactly.
Right? Yeah,
exactly.
We think the same way.
But you know what? That goes to the point of, and I got a question for you, and it's not hard, and it's not a trick. So, where do you think is the richest place on the earth is?
For me?
No, in general.
In general. I guess anytime you spend with your family.
That's a good question, but guess what it is? Actually, Les Brown, who's one of my mentors, he said the richest place on the earth is the graveyard. And it's because we take so many of our dreams and so many of our passions and our purpose to the graveyard and not share it with anybody.
Wow.
And can you imagine, and I say this to everybody, so can you imagine if the person that created this computer created even table, food, where would we be at? So the lesson here to learn from that is so powerful is go after your what's next. Write it down. Talk about it. You have a tribe. Here at Envision Me is we're here. Besides Lori, I have thousands of women around us that can help you. And note that I always tell everybody, I can't do it. I don't know everything. So I have women that I can call on at a drop of a hat, text them, call them, and like, hey, I have someone that needs help.
Connect you.
Everything.
Absolutely.
So I need you to understand. And I say that all the time because so many people are like, really? But imagine if imagine the Post-it guy went to I mean, we see Post-its everywhere. They're in the room here. We just, so I want everybody to understand that how it's important to go after your what's next. And it's going to take time. We even talked about, look, we're recovering people pleasers. Man, that's hard, and it's huge, but it is hard.
Huge. It's huge.
So I want you all to know that. But also too, you guys, just go out here and go after your what's next. But Lori, real quick before we go on to the break, where can people find you or where can they connect to you?
You know what? Call me directly or text me 614-353-6157.
Okay, guys. So you got a personal number. If you want, you'll get to hear more about what Lori's into in a few minutes. But I wanted her to stop. She has dropped nuggets. I hope you guys look. I don't have my pen today, so we're going to pray on it, but I'll be able to get the recording. But I will hope you guys are getting your learning what your what's next is and going after it go after it. Walk, as Lori said, walk through the door. Now, let me say this. The door I was a little stubborn in walking through the door. I don't know about you, but I was a little stubborn. And I mean, I had a poke and I was sitting in the house by myself. And I had a poke, like someone was like tapping me on my shoulder. And I was like, oh, that's just a ache. And so the next day, the poke was harder. And as well as it was said, you only get one life to live. And I was home by myself. And I said, okay, you're right. So at that time, and I tell this story because this is really where it came in that I knew that God was talking to me, but I wasn't listening. So he had to get some other people to help me out. And so I went to one of my. I had I worked with two mentors at that particular time, and I was like, hey, I was thinking about, and one was like, yeah, I already know that. I already knew. I knew 3 months ago that this wasn't for you.
Wow.
Already knew. And I go, okay. And they even told me what I would be good at. And then a week later, my girlfriend, but she was also my mentor and my boss, we were driving. She's like, I'm going to tell you now, this ain't for you. And in a while, you're going to be let go. So you have a choice. And your choice is, I'm going to help you, but I'm going to show you what I do because I watched her from afar, but I admired what she was doing as in being an entrepreneur. She was traveling around the world, educating people on health. And it looked so fun. So guess what she did? She set me up and she took me under her wing. And I went to travel with her for a couple times to see how it was.
That's amazing.
So you guys, opportunity was knocking at my door, but I wasn't paying attention to the knock. So I know everybody, it's hard. I understand that, you have to plan. I understand that, and fear did sit in for me.
Absolutely.
It really did sit in for me at that point in time that I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm still not going to do it. And then it just all started falling in to play. Hey, Monica. And she says, hey, Lori.
Hey, Monica. I know Monica.
Yeah, she was at the event.
I love her.
So I want everybody to know, just go after your what's next. But I'm going to let Lori relax for a little bit, and then we're going to come back. But I wanted you all to know that Lori is here. She's going to stick around with me. But this is real quick, you guys. So we're going to take a break. So tonight's show, again, is sponsored by Vision Made Vision Board. So you guys, okay, now I can reveal it to you. Here is, look, one goal in a bag. Look, I hold it. Look, I do it this way. One goal in a bag. One goal in a bag is actually,
stretch it out.
yeah. One goal. Look, I have to exactly.
Maybe does that show better?
Yeah, look. Yeah, there you go. So one goal in a bag is all about you going after doing your vision board, and you can do it with with one goal. The other kit that you guys see that I have, a big one, it allows you to actually sit down and do 3 goals at one time. Thank you, Monica. But this one here, and actually you have everything in here to do your vision board. There are scissors. Lori, I showed Lori. So there's scissors, there's glue, there's pins, and you guys know I love some colorful pens. So we got colorful pens in here.
She's giving you everything you need to
everything to create your goal for your 30-day goal. So I will drop it in the feed if you're interested in getting one. Also, that goes along with the vision board kit is actually, there is a podcast now, which is the Vision Board Show, which is now aired on Tuesday here at 8:30. So you guys will get to, now I go through, we actually, yesterday was all about how did I overcome procrastination. Thank you. Yes, a great gift. Over how I overcame procrastination, because we always faced it. And then last week we talked about the power of the pen. Though we write it, there's more to it. There's a deeper meaning in the power of the pen. So if you wanted to catch those episodes, we would love for you to subscribe and follow us. You can find those in Anchor. You can also find those on Apple Podcasts, as well as you can find those on Audible. So you can find them on any large platforms, as well as Roku and Amazon TV. So yeah, so we're everywhere you can go. So we're here to empower you to go after your what's next. So this half of the show, I told Lori we're going to do something a little fun. And so one of the things that you guys, all know, I do book on the shelf. And this is, first, let me say this is not to endorse. I don't get any kickbacks. I don't get anything, everyone, because I get so many texts. Oh, so they pay you? No, they don't. They don't. I believe in if we read, it expands our mind, which then empowers us to go after whatever we want to do. So today I want Lori. So what's your book on the shelf and what are you reading?
I have a couple different ones.
That's
I
fine.
mentioned one to you, but another one that I'm reading right now is called Waking the Tiger. Ooh. By Peter Levine.
Okay.
It helps you work through any traumas in your life. And being in the hospital and having your tonsils out can be a trauma.
Yes.
Being a child sitting on the floor and having their parent come in and walk by them with groceries, even saying, I'll be right back, I'm just going to put the groceries down, can be an abandonment trauma. It's amazing to me how we probably have all suffered multiple traumas and don't realize it.
Wow.
So my daughter recommended this book to me that's in psychology. It's so good.
Is it?
It is, yes.
Oh, I'm going to
Because you how to work through them. It takes you back to your animalistic brain and how when you're in a trauma, you kind of freeze and go in that freeze state.
Uh-huh.
Really
I love it. Okay, and tell them the other book that I'm going to read next.
Oh, The Wild Goose Chase?
Yes.
Oh, The Wild Goose Chase. Oh my gosh. So yeah, I told you that that inspired me to go across the ocean to Asia, stay there for a month. Took my daughter with me. I just called her that weekend and said, Mallory, I have a ticket for you. She says, what, Mommy? And she still calls me Mommy. She's 27 years old. She goes, are you serious? And she has a roommate. She had a roommate in college at that time that was there. She goes, can we visit her? And I said, I have no idea. We're going as a guest to a host of one of the students at the school. So it was quite an eventful trip, I will say.
Wow.
But that Wild Goose Chase is what inspired me. It's where the Holy Ghost is leading you in your life.
Oh, I'm going to
be
read
open
that.
to it. And also to write your goals down. Speak them every day. Tell them to your friends, to people, your loved ones, that, you know what? Who cares what they say? Who cares what people think?
Right.
No one really cares about anyone but themselves when it really comes right down to it. And they're comparing. So, you know what? Say, you know what? Guess what? I'm going to be a billionaire next year.
Right.
Believe it.
Believe it and start working on it.
Exactly.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I believe it.
But those are a couple of my books. And then one is A Messy Life, I told you.
Yeah, I read that. The Messy Life is so good. You guys have to read it.
Is it Matthew Kelly?
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys have to read that. I love that book. I love it.
It's a short read.
It is. I read it the whole day.
I did too. I couldn't lay it down.
Yeah, but that's a lot of, look, I'm almost sorry to say, write, speak, and tell others about your goals. Yeah. And it's true. I write my goals I write them. I actually have them in my book. I read them every night and read them every morning, and I talk about them.
And you know what? I changed what I had written on mine.
Me too.
I have a picture frame that I took the picture out and I just put like a piece of plain colored paper behind it so I can write with a dry erase marker.
Nice.
2 weeks ago, I wrote, please have God lead me to the people that I can support and help. And then I wrote, who's going to pay me today?
Oh, I like that. I need that one. Who's going to pay me?
I don't usually do that. And it's made a difference.
Has it?
It has made a difference.
I'm going to have to write that. Who's going to pay me today?
That's not wrong to ask God.
No,
that.
it's
I
not.
mean, God's going to lead you. And I think you can say that.
There's
you reach
nothing wrong.
A hurt anyway.
But there's nothing wrong with it. It's not, it's not doing any harm to anyone.
No.
So I love that. Who's going, I'm going to have to write that down.
I actually learned that from Sonny Martin. If anyone knows Sonny Martin, he's an author.
He's been following me lately.
He's published like 65 books, a very dear friend. And he said, you know what I have on my mirror, girl? Who's going to pay me today? And I'm like, Well, I added a little more.
Of course, but still, it doesn't matter. I'm going to have to write that. I'm going to put that on my bowl, on my window, on my mirror, everywhere. Who's going to pay me
And I'm
today?
going to tell you something else. Think about when you're in a car. There's a big front window.
I used to put Post-its on there.
There's a small rear view window. So don't worry about what happened in the past.
Right.
Learn from it. Thank God for those lessons and move on, because the big window is where you're looking.
Well, I always read when I used to work in the office, I always looked in the rearview mirror, and I'm like, the rearview mirror reminded me of the past. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
And so I always, I like that. I'm gonna have to, who's gonna pay me? Look, I'm gonna keep saying that until we get off of here. Who's gonna pay me today? So this is so much fun. I can't believe time is almost over. But so as we're talking about self-care, what is something that you do for your self-care?
Something I do is I make sure I do Pilates 3 times a week.
Ooh.
Because during COVID, I used to be a personal trainer, and during COVID, I was trying to work out and do it at home. I'm a very social person.
Me too.
I don't like to just watch TV and do it. It's just, my dog gets in the way.
Everybody.
I just can't do it. The doorbell rings, the phone rings. Of course, I have to check. If I hear a beep on my phone, I'm just very much like that. And so if I go to Pilates, you turn off your phone.
Yep.
And I do Legree Pilates, which is a slow Pilates. I absolutely love it. And I just put it on my calendar and I book it 3 times a week. Ooh. And I am devoted to it. And I get to learn that it's okay to say no.
Yeah. That's
That's
so
some
true.
self-care there, right?
Right, because we don't. Then we just talk about there. We
I
especially
used to never say no. It was always
right.
yes, and I'm always trying to fix people that
Because
maybe
that's
don't
how
even want to
people.
be
That's
fixed.
what right. Well,
Right.
that's us people pleasers. What we do.
Exactly.
We please everybody.
Yeah, but that's really, when you think about it, really obnoxious and rude because they might be very happy with their lives, and I'm looking at, well, in my experience, this is what I see.
Exactly.
But that
I
that's the
agree.
story we're telling ourselves, right? So
Yeah. I agree with you. So let me back up. So my book I'm reading is a happier hour, and it's all about paying attention to time management.
oh, that's a good one.
And it's a
That's
really a oh my
explain
goodness, it is so good. And it talked about, when it talked about those of us who has time, is it really time that you have, or are you just neglecting something? And if you're neglecting something, why are you neglecting it? And then those of you who don't have time because you're always so busy, why are you being so busy? Again, are you neglecting something?
because you can't
Can't
face
face
it.
it. And so that book is so good. So I'm reading Happy Hour, and then my self care that I do. I'm actually starting to go back to start meditating. I used to meditate every day. And so I'm back to the meditating. And I'm like you, I try to stay home and do the gym thing. Okay, I'm so over the home thing. I got to get and I got to get out in public because me being home, yeah, I think
Humans are social people.
I
It's
can't.
normal
I
to be around
tried.
people. I did too.
I honestly, I can say I gave the best of the best, but I can't.
I'm not a psychologist, but I really think there should be a new diagnosis: post-traumatic stress COVID disorder.
See, we were on the same place. Yeah, I'm with you too. Because this was just too, yeah, I got to be back out.
Me
So
too.
I'm getting ready to get back out into the gym. I'm getting ready to go back to my walking every day. I don't care. I can't. I tried. I did try. I will mask up. If you want to shop me, give me another, whatever. I can't. I did try it. And so, Lori, as I said, we're getting ready. Man, we've been on here already over the time. It was fun.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No,
I
don't
thought
be.
It was so fun.
It
though.
was
I
fun.
know you asked me a question and then I'm like,
No, but it was fun. This was just so fun. And look, we're getting interaction. That's all we're supposed to do.
Great.
So before we go and close down, what would you like to leave the audience with?
Well, as I said, God led me to this amazing opportunity. And I learned about what functional food for purpose is and how it can create a healthier DNA. And I just absolutely love this business. And I believe that I have God's favor in my life, very much so. And so I believe that everyone that I'm working with, that I choose to work with,
yes,
when I went to work, how I went to work, how long I went to work, I only do things that are fun, and that's really true.
Yeah.
And yet I'm very successful. And right now, our company is doing so well that if anyone out there feels like their next step might be a side gig, or even you can start out making $300 a year, $3,000 a year. Some people make $3 million a year, and it's a corporate blend business model. They are offering right now a free franchise opportunity through Friday.
Wow.
So I would love, if that is something that sounds interesting to you, to reach out to me. I can give you more information. It's a fabulous company. You educate people.
Love it.
You share your mission. That's it.
Love it. So how can they get a hold of you again?
Well, I'm going to also give them one of my emails. I don't know.
That's fine. And I'll put it up later. So you go ahead and tell them, and then I'll give it.
Okay, so I'm going to give this one. It's Lori, Lori McCorkle.
Okay.
McCorkle 5598 @gmail.com. And then once again, I'm going to share my cell phone number, which is 614-353-6157. I would love to hear from you. I would love to teach you more about it if you feel like it's your next step. It's amazing to me how many people are going with these side gigs because they don't know what's happening in the corporate world. They don't know from day to day. And this way you have an insurance and you have residual income that you're going to pass on to generations.
So important.
And it's generational wellness.
So true.
It is.
So you guys, if you guys know, if you're looking for, look, we have talked about, giving the nuggets if you're sitting in the corporate world. We've both been there. Lori's been there. I'm still there. So you can't say that we can't relate to you, but also knowing that there was so many nuggets that you dropped. If you missed this episode, we would like for you to go back and replay it. And also please share. I thought this was fun.
This was so fun. I just absolutely love you. The first time I met you, I'm like, I want her in my life.
Yeah,
you know how sometimes you meet people, it's like,
yeah, I'm like,
Nice
yeah,
to know you.
yeah, I'm good.
and then you meet tribe members and you're just like,
Yeah.
I love you.
This was so fun. Thank you for coming.
so
I hope you
much.
come back again.
I would love to.
We're going to do something. I'll have to tell you offline what I'm thinking about doing.
Okay.
So you guys,
thanks for your time tonight,
thank you.
guys.
Yeah, you guys, we want to thank you for joining us. But you know what? Before I always do, you guys. I'm always telling you, you only have one life to live. Live it to the fullest. Do it with no ifs and buts about it. Remember, I even talked about when you're looking in the rearview mirror, it's the past. You can't do anything about it. All you can do is look in the front at the mirror in front of you or in the window in front of you and move forward. So go out here and go whatever after what's next and whatever it may be. And know you can do it. And know that you have the support. I said it twice. You have the support. I said it and I will continue to say it because so many of us are forgetting that we think we can do it by ourselves and you don't have to. So I want to thank you all again for joining me. And again, next week, I'll have another amazing powerhouse guest. If you have any questions, drop it in the feed. I will get to them. And if they're not for me, I will get them to Lori. If it's not to Lori can, I will make sure I pass it along to the other women that are in our tribe, as Lori has talked about it. And I want to thank you all for joining us and take care of yourself. And we appreciate
I
you.
have one more thing.
Absolutely.
Could you please text me first so I know who you are, and then I'll answer the phone number?
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't blame her there.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Until next week when we come in and we have the another amazing show. So take care of yourself. And again, remember, you only got one life to live. So live it to the fullest and do what you got to do to be you. Thanks, guys. Take care.
That was so fun.
You like
Did
it?
I do okay?
Did it? Great.